Good afternoon, everyone. It's Sal Post. How you're doing? I hope you're doing well. Well, the news that Gareth Southgate has been sacked, or stepped down, should I say, as England manager, of course. After 8 years, 2016, Gareth Southgate has been the manager of England. Of course, England were in a right mess when he took over the international fold. England were post Iceland, so to speak, and England were basically on their knees looking for a revival. And unfortunately, it's come to this. But Southgate did bring England back to a level of respectability, a level of respect across the European fold, again, across Europe, reaching the World Cup semi-final. Some may say that he actually did better than most England managers have ever done, in regards to reaching the semi-final, etc. But as time went on, we realized that Southgate's tactical prowess is flawed. It is flawed. And when we analysed it, the first 2018 was forgivable, of course. 2018, England reached the semi-final of the World Cup, being defeated by Croatia, having taken the lead. Now, we forgave Gareth Southgate for that because it was his first real tournament and it was a success, bearing in mind what we have done in previous tournaments. It was a success. It was a better, should I say, than what we've done in the past and recent years. It was the 2018 World Cup. Then it came to the European Championships in 2020. That it was played in 2021 because of COVID, of course. England, with a home tournament, played all their games at Wembley, apart from the game in Rome against Ukraine. It was the first tournament to be played all around Europe, and England reached the semi-final. But when you look at, firstly, when you look at the World Cup, I take it back. When you look at the World Cup and England route to the World Cup, you say, right, England played Senegal, England played, was it Colombia first, didn't they? Then they played Sweden, and then they played Croatia. So no one really elite in that tournament. They had Belgium in their group, and they played Belgium in the third place playoff, in which they lost both. In 2021, England went through to the final of the European Championships, of course. They're defeating the likes of Germany, a very weak Germany side. Of course it was. And then England defeated Denmark, who they're expected to beat. Of course, they're expected to beat a Denmark side. They beat Ukraine in the last 16, which in Rome 4-0, which, to be honest, they expected to win. But when they got to the final, against a manager who knows who knows about tactics, who knows how to win games in Mancini, they fell short. Now it comes to the 2022 World Cup. A France team that weren't really performing well. They went out with a whimper, 2-1 in the last 16, the quarterfinal of the World Cup in 2022 in Qatar. England went out to France. So it seemed like at that point that Gareth Southgate's tactics and abilities were limited. As a manager, he kept losing against the elite sides, so to speak, the sides that are more established. Whenever he came up to against a side that is a little bit more successful, etc., like i.e. France, i.e. Italy, he lost. And this is the whole point about the England manager. Then we come to these European Championships. We come to this point. Now, it cannot be discounted, his achievement in reaching the final of the European Championship. Of course, England defeated Slovakia after extra time. And without that scissor kick from Jude Bellingham, England would have been out of the European Championships. England would have been out of the European Championships at the first hurdle in the last 16. And we have to look at that. And we have to analyse it critically in regards to how he done as a manager. Not, he got to the final. Let's look at it critically, right? He got to the final of the European Championship. He played Slovakia. England scraped through Slovakia 2-1 after extra time. Then England played Switzerland. Switzerland, let's be fair, knocked out Italy. So Switzerland were always going to be a difficult side. Switzerland played good football, but England got through on penalties. Right, the performance from England was not good. The performances throughout the tournament were not good. The whole tournament itself, England were very poor, and were fortunate through individual talent that they got through. And this is the whole point of it. England got through from individual talent. So against Switzerland, England equalised from a great goal from Saka when we weren't in the game. And they ended up winning on penalties, better, albeit they won in penalties in fantastic style. They scored every penalty and they were cool, calm, collected. And that has to be praised upon Southgate, that he has set a team out to win penalty shootouts. Now, when you go to the final, when you go to the semi-final against Netherlands didn't play well in the first half. England played very well in the first half. But in the second half, tactically, England didn't have an answer. And Netherlands were passing the ball around. Netherlands were dominating possession. But again, it took a little bit of individual brilliance from Ollie Watkins to win the game. Now, these selections that he keeps picking, Harry Kane keeps getting picked. Harry Kane kept getting picked time and time again. And I put a huge amount of blame on some of those experienced players in the England squad that have down-tooled, that have not played well. Harry Kane is one of them. Harry Kane played like a frigging transformer the whole tournament. He didn't play well and he was poor, and he's supposed to be England's captain, right? So then you look at the final against Spain. From the get-go, Spain were dominating possession. From the get-go, England let them have possession. They let them have possession time and time again, when England's best formation would have been to attack Spain, to go after Spain, to really press Spain. That was the tactics. Get the wingers on, get Gordon on, get Palmer on, let them attack. I said it before the game. Kane was the wrong choice for this Spanish defence. Spain press high up the field, and he should have got a clue against Georgia, against Spain. Of course, Georgia counter-attacked Spain time and time again. The only thing was, Georgia were not a good side individually. 11 against 11, they were not good. But England had better players than Spain and should have attacked Spain and should have believed in themselves a little bit more. Palmer should have came on. Ollie Watkins should have came on much earlier. Of course, we cannot say that, that certain players in that England team are void of criticism. Carl Walker was crap. Declan Rice was rubbish. Trippier was rubbish the whole tournament. Stones was average. Kane was absolutely diabolical. It was pathetic. And when we changed the formation in the second half and we left a huge gaping hole on the left side of the pitch, then you knew that, of course, that the tactics are wrong. The tactical changes were wrong, of course. And Nico Williams was brilliant, Kenny. Yeah, he was brilliant. But at the end of the day, the tactical change gave him space. And it was a wrong change. He made a mistake. And I feel like what he should have done, he should have just stuck to his what England are good at is attack. England are not good at defending. And England should have attacked the game. They should have really brought it to Spain. When England equalised, when it made it 1-1, that is when England should have went after the game. Everyone thought, including myself, this is our game. This is our game to win. Rodri was off the pitch. We were attacking. We could have went 2-1 up. We should have attacked more. But what happened? We sat back, and that's because of the manager. England should have won that game against Spain in the end. When you look at it in hindsight, yes, overall, Spain deserved to win the tournament with their performances 7 out of 7 in the tournament, beating France, beating Germany. So they deserve to win the tournament. I'm not saying that. But when you get an opportunity to win the game, when you go to 1-1, you have to really grab the game by the cojones. You do. You have to grab the game by the cojones and win the game. Game is about fine margins. Big up, Mark. What's going on? Like mentality though, but people hating on Bellingham. I like this mentality. People hating on Bellingham because they don't know what they're talking about. Bellingham was playing on the left of midfield. He doesn't play on the left of midfield. What was he doing on the left of midfield? As soon as they moved him in midfield, that was it. Bellingham started playing well. Bellingham started creating chances. Bellingham started taking 4 games out of the pitch with one twist. It's the wrong thing. People hating on Bellingham. Why? This is the problem with England. They hate on the wrong players. They should hate on Harry Kane. Harry Kane was up there doing nothing the whole tournament. Nothing except a penalty and a tap-in with his head in the whole tournament. But as England's talisman, as England's captain, he was poor. The whole game, he was poor. I'm here in Italy. I got people who don't even watch football who are saying he's rubbish. He was rubbish, and he should be getting the criticism. Instead of Bellingham. Bellingham was our best player. Let's be fair. He was our best player. Look at the turn in that game, and he almost scored. He took out Spanish players. He needed to play in the middle of the pitch, not on the left wing like he was playing. The tactics were all over the place. The tactics were rubbish. Square pegs in round holes, exactly, Mark. Square pegs in round holes, and that was the problem with England over the tournament. Trying to fit in the best players. Not the best players don't always fit into the team. Foden needed to be dropped. Foden was poor. Kyle Walker was poor. Kane was poor. They were all poor. And you're blaming Bellingham. I've seen blame on Mainu as well. Come on, guys. Declan Rice was poor, gave away the ball more than he actually passed the ball accurately. You know, Kyle Walker leaving acres of space for the likes of Nico Williams to score the first goal and the second goal, right? And he should be getting the blame. Foden should be getting the blame. Stones should be getting the blame. All these players here should be getting the blame. Not Bellingham, not Mainu, not Saka, not Palmer. None of these players, not Gui. None of these players should be getting the blame, but they're more experienced. I'm talking about Kyle Walker, Foden. I'm talking about Stones. I'm talking about these players. Pickford done okay in the final, but kicking it long, time and time again, and then giving the ball away, time and time again, against a team that love to have possession. It doesn't make sense. It does not make sense. We need a manager in there who's gonna change this philosophy. He's gonna change this mentality. No, we don't want Eddie Howe. No, we don't want bloody Potter. We don't. We need someone like Jurgen Klopp. They need to get out and try and convince Jurgen Klopp, get him off the beach, to try his best to get him to manage England for the World Cup. Because these managers are not winners. They never won. Southgate, with all due respect, is not his fault 100%, but he made so many mistakes. Bellingham has turned on Southgate. Bellingham was frustrated with Southgate's tactics as it is being leaked this week. We knew it. The frustration was all to see in their faces. Bellingham was player of the year in Spain. Foden was player of the year in England, in the Premier League and in La Liga. Two of theoretically the best players in Europe you're talking about. And England were outplayed by a team that has bloody Morata up front, by a team that has Omo and players like that who are not on our level. Let's be honest, when you go into the Champions League, if it was Man City against whoever it was, Man City would defeat that team with Morata. You know, and Spain just had a tactical plan. And this tactical plan worked on England because Southgate didn't have a tactical plan. He didn't have any answers. When England played well against the Netherlands, when they played well in the first half, the Netherlands made a tactical change because they could see the triangles that England were trying to play. They made a tactical change. And England were fortunate that Netherlands didn't have a prolific striker or prolific attacking forward line that they wouldn't have finished England there and then. If England played Spain in the last 16, England would have got knocked out. Every single time England play a decent side, they lose. Half decent side, they lose. Outplayed by Denmark, outplayed by Netherlands for most of the game, outplayed by Slovakia. For goodness sake, it's about time that Gareth Southgate left. He's wasted a couple of years, in my opinion, in regards to this England squad. And people say he got England to the final. He got England to the final. So listen, when I grow up, and when I grew up in the 90s and the 80s, and I saw the teams that England used to play. England in 2002 played a prime Brazil, Rivaldo, Ronaldinho, all these players, yeah, Cafu, right? Ronaldo, R9. They played all these type of teams. England in 2010 played the Germany side with a prime Müller, with obviously one of the highest goal scorers in Europe, in World Cup history, in Klose, in players Schweinsteiger, a very, very experienced side. England in 1998 played a World Cup team in Argentina, a world-class team in Varane, in Batistuta, in Zanetti, in Ortega. They played those type of teams. This is completely different. This is not like them days. Let's not go to them days. England in 2004 played a Portugal side with João Pinto, with Nuno Gomes, with Ronaldo. It's not the same. The same in 2006 with Ronaldo, with João Pinto, with Nuno Gomes, with these players, with Carvalho, players like that at the back. You had great players. Mark, I think it's the problem is that the fact that England don't play the best players for England, they play is inferior to the best player, whether out of the position or exactly. As I pointed on earlier today, Man United had players like Sheringham, Solskjaer, Cole, York. If we decided to play all of them players in the same team at the same time, we wouldn't win the treble. Even though they may be the best players. We used to leave players on the bench. We used to have players on the bench, even though they were really good. You couldn't play them all. You can't play them all. There's times when we had to use Mark Hughes from the bench. There's times when we had to use Eric Cantona and Andy Cole with Mark Hughes. You know, we had players like that. We've had Ruud van Nistelrooy. We've had Louis Saha. We've had players like that. One of them had to be on the bench. You can't play them all at the same time. You have to think about balance. And this is precisely the problem that England had over the past, over the years and years of me watching England. When England play, in particular when Gerrard, Lampard and Scholes were playing, they will play Scholes on the left. They will play Gerrard and Lampard in the middle. When England were crying out for Michael Carrick. Crying out for Michael Carrick to add balance. You know, and that was the whole point of it. England would play Lampard, England would play Gerrard, England would play Scholes in midfield, in an unbalanced midfield with no one defending. And then, you know, then they wonder why. We got all these great players, we don't do well and blah, blah, blah. They didn't have the tactical prowess. Now, that's where I bring it back to Eric Ten Hag. Eric Ten Hag knows we cannot play a certain style against Man City. He knows that. He tactically mastered a way to beat Manchester City. Now, I thought that Gareth Southgate would be smart and would swallow his ego, right? I thought he would swallow his ego and say, look, I'm going to look at Ten Hag, the way Man U played against Rodri, the way Man United played against Man City in that FA Cup final, and I'm going to do something similar, something like a false nine. That's what I thought he would do, but he didn't have any tactical prowess. He thought like Championship manager, he's just going to pick the best players on the pitch, the best players. The best players don't even always work. It was crying out for Palmer to play. Foden weren't performing. Every time Palmer came on, England looked dangerous. Foden has proven to be a system player. He plays in a system. If you're going to play Foden, and there's no disrespect to Foden, he's a great player, right? You have to have a manager who can fit him into the system. Now, when Palmer played, he played more to the style that Gareth Southgate wanted to play, and it worked. So he should have played Palmer. He should have played Ollie Watkins up front from the start, and that's why England lost the final to Spain. They should have played Ivan Toney. What is Spain's biggest weakness? What are their biggest weakness? Corners, crosses. Who's good at corners and crosses? Ivan Toney should have played against Spain. Ollie Watkins should have played against Spain. Palmer should have played against Spain. Spain would have crumbled, believe me. We were predictable. Kane played like a bloody Tyrannosaurus Rex up there. He was so slow. Bronchosaurus, whatever you want to call it. He was so slow. Yeah, exactly. You have to have, Mark, simple players. So you have to have players who can play it simple. You have to have players who can keep the ball. Mainu was the only one who was able and capable of keeping the ball. Declan Rice, I don't know. I mean, maybe he's a system player as well because he was poor. Let's be real. He was poor. Right? Now, Saka did okay. Saka kept England in the tournament. But in the final, he was null and void. He wasn't good. But he's not a wing back. Luke Shaw it hasn't played since February. Yet Gareth Southgate decided to pick Luke Shaw instead of getting a fit left back. Gordon sat on the bench. Walton sat on the bench. Wastes of space. If you're going to waste space, you might as well pick Grealish. You might as well pick Maguire and put them in the squad. They're damn sight better than the defence you've got. Maguire's more experienced. England were crying out for a Rashford. England crying out for a Rashford in that tournament. Why would you pick Walton and leave Rashford at home? Come on. It doesn't make sense, does it? So, in my opinion, all said and done, it's better late than never, but Southgate has gone. I wish him the best, right? He managed the team in an era where there is not any elite teams anymore, so you cannot use that excuse that he got to the final, he got to the semi-final, blah, blah, blah. There are not any France's of 98. There are not any prime Brazil of 1998, prime 2002. They are not. There's not prime Germany anymore. He had a great chance. Even Spain are not a magnificent side like 2012, 2010, 2008. They're not. These teams were beatable. And I feel under Klopp, if England were managed by a Klopp, if England were managed by a Pep, if England were even managed by Ten Hag, England would have won that tournament. Believe it. I believe that firmly. Now, good luck to Gareth Southgate in his new job. I'm not sure he will get a Premier League job. I'm not sure where he will go. He'll probably go to Holland or something and manage in Holland. But I wish him the best of luck. My opinion now is England go get the best. Whether he's English or not, it doesn't matter. England go and get the best. England persuade Jurgen Klopp to come into that England team. England persuade a Jose Mourinho to come into that England team and shake it up and win tournaments. Because that's what England need to do. Pochettino. Even Pochettino would have done well. Even Pochettino would have set England up to a style of play that would win that tournament. Gareth Southgate is not that guy. Gareth Southgate bottled it in 2018, bottled it in 2021, bottled it in 2022, bottled it in 2024. And even, you know, everyone was saying it. Everyone was saying it. My wife was saying it. My in-laws were saying it. England have wasted an opportunity. Another opportunity. Because look at it from this possibility. In the USA in 2026, England will come up against a more experienced Spanish side. Lamine Yamal and Nico Williams will be more experienced. They'll come up against a resurgent Italian side. They'll come up against a French team with a young team, resurging. You don't get these opportunities every single year. You don't get these opportunities every single tournament. And he's blown every single opportunity that he's had. I'm sorry for him. I do feel sorry for him. I feel sorry for him. I do. And at the end of the day, but football is a cutthroat industry. You can't feel sorry for him. Ten Hag had one of the worst circumstances you could possibly hope for as a manager last season. 60-odd injuries, 40-odd defensive pairings at the back, not playing with a left back for half of the season, almost the whole of the season. Having one striker up front, players getting injured, players getting suspended. The off-field issues with Sancho, with Greenwood, with Anthony, with Maguire. Sancho with the tweet. The media barrage against Ten Hag, yet he still won a trophy. Now you imagine he was given a squad like that. And then people want to say to get Southgate as Man United manager. Are you mad? Are you crazy? That would have been the end of Man United forever. Well, at least for the next 5 years. Well, it would have taken a lot to come back from that. Ten Hag still navigated a way to win a trophy after all those mitigating circumstances. Beating the best side in the world in the final. And tactically outwitting him. Southgate couldn't do that. It takes fine lines. It takes decisions. It takes those decisions, the studying the opposition. When England played Spain, straight away they gave them the ball. Straight away they sat back. Big mistake. Because it's hard to come back from that. When England started the game, they should have gave Spain a bloody nose. They should have went out and they should have attacked Spain. England's quality, regardless on the pitch, is attacking. And every time they attacked, they looked good. England were given a lifeline when Palmer scored that fantastic goal. And then they sat back again and invited the pressure on themselves. And I said at the time, England are going to lose this 2-1. And they did. No changes. No change of personnel. If players are tired, take them off. If Kane's got a bad back, don't play him. Are you crazy? Gareth Southgate was to blame. He picks the side. I don't like to see managers get sacked. I know it's a difficult job. But if you're not up for it, step down. And he stepped down. The next manager, in my opinion, should be Jurgen Klopp. I don't care what all these people say about Liverpool, about the Liverpool connection. This is England. This is not Man United. If you're going to have that philosophy, if you're going to have that mentality, every Liverpool player that plays for England, you might as well not support England. Because there's going to be Liverpool players playing for England. So you might as well not support them. We need to get the best in class. And we need to get someone who's going to get England over the line, in my opinion. Guys, don't forget to smash a like. Don't forget to subscribe. Thank you so much for joining me. Thank you guys for in the comments. You guys are absolute legends. New era, new manager. Who's it going to be? Let's hope it's not Potter. Let's hope it's not Eddie Howe. Let's hope it's not managers who've not won anything. We need winners in there. Who do you think should be the manager? Let me know. Comment below. Please don't forget to subscribe, and please don't forget to smash a like on the video. Guys, thank you so much. It's a new beginning for England. Anyway, all the best. Cheers.